What is up, YouTube? This is Yugioh's deck profile. I got another deck profile for you guys. This is a deck that I've used the most out of all of my other decks. This is Lightsworn. It is not pure Lightsworn. I do have some a few different engines on this that for me have worked just perfectly. I have gone undefeated with this deck on my locals. I've a couple of times, and every time I've played it, I've never landed down the line more than third. I've always gotten either first, second, or third, never fourth or anything. For me, it works perfectly, maybe because I know the deck in and out, and I'll show you guys some combos. But yeah, let's just get straight to it. First, I run double JD, your Mr. Crazy Good out of the Lightsworns. Judgment Dragon, if you don't know what it does, you need at least 4 different Lightsworn monsters with different names in your graveyard to special summon it. He's also got 3k attack, and once per turn, not even once per turn actually, you can pay 1,000 life points to nuke the whole board except himself. He is just amazing. At the end phase, you mill 4 cards. To me, 2 is perfectly. 3 with 3, you usually brick. I mean, you mill this a lot, to be honest, as well. But when you have it mid game or late game, it just makes plays go off. It's a one-man army. You really want JD. A lot of people don't, but I personally still like JD a lot, and it's helped me more than it's done me bad. Next, I run triple Lumina. Lumina is your play extender. She is a level 7 synchro. She lets you all your fodder. She's just really good. Her effect is you can discard 1 card to special summon a level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster from your graveyard. And as you know, this is Lightsworn. You're milling quite a lot. You're building quite a graveyard. You're always going to have targets. This is what you always want to search for with your Charge of the Light Brigade. You never want to mill it. You always want to have at least 1 in hand. Next, I run triple of Raiden, level 4 tuner. Raiden is another amazing card. Once per turn, you can mill 2 cards during your main phase, and he gains 200 attack if you mill a Lightsworn monster. Milling in the main phase is really good. You also mill another 2 during the end phase. But he is a level 4. He is a tuner. He is your Omega. He is your Minerva. He just has plays for days. Next, I run triple Wolf, the Lightsworn Beast. His effect is pretty simple. If you get sent from the deck directly to the graveyard, you special summon it. Pretty straightforward. I like 3 because at 3 I'm milling at least 1 wolf a game instead of drawing it too much, and I have a lot of things that help you unclog him if you draw into him. So for me, 3 is just perfect. Next, I run the double Felice for more milling engine. Felice is a bit different than Wolf. I mean, 1, she's level 4, she's a tuner as well, and 2k defense. Her effect is when she gets sent from the deck to the graveyard by a monster effect, you can special summon her. So you can't special her if she gets milled by a spell or anything along those lines. However, she does have a second effect that is pretty handy. When she is on the field, you can tribute herself, mill 3, and pop one of your opponent's monsters, or is it a card? Tribute this card and target 1 monster. Yes, yeah, so I mean, it's still pretty good. I like it at 2 since you need a monster effect to do it, to special her, but for me, it works perfectly fine. Next, I run just the 1 Lila. I'm honestly considering taking her out. Lila's, if you don't know what she does, once per turn you get to pop one of your opponent's back row, and she goes into defense mode until for 2 turns, I think, until the next until the end phase of your next turn. So she's going to stay in defense mode for 1 whole turn after that. I mean, I've used her a handful of times. You never use her with Lila since she is not a tuner, and you got your Raidens, which are far better matches. But I mean, Lila, I usually just have her for the name. But that's about it, really. And then I run just 1 more. It's not Lightsworn, but a Twilight Sworn, Raikou, the Twilight Sworn fighter. I really like Raikou a lot. When he is normal summon or when he is flip face up, you get to banish 1 card your opponent controls. And what's amazing about this effect is that it does not target. It you just banish a card your opponent controls, no targeting. And in today's meta, there are just so many cards that do not let you target. This one gets around that, and that's why I have it. He's also dark, so fodder for something else as well. And when a Lightsworn monster activates their effect, he mills an additional 3 cards. But I just really like Twilight, the Twilight Storm fighter. I haven't used too much, but yeah. Next, I run One, BLS. BLS is a one-man army. If you can run it, do it. He's a 3K beater, and he's got two beautiful effects. You can special him by removing by banishing one light and one dark monster. Also, once per turn, you get to banish one card your opponent controls. Doesn't have to be face up, like Chaos Sorcerer. And however, if he uses that effect to banish, he cannot attack that turn. But when he does attack and he destroys a monster by battle, it can be a token as well, because it doesn't have to go to the graveyard. It just says when he destroys a monster by battle, he can make a second attack that turn. And he is just really, really good. BLS, I mean, if you can run it, definitely do it. Second, I run triple Goblinberg. Goblinberg is to unclog your hands. If you're drawn into Wolves, if you're drawn into Felice, or if you just need two monsters to hit the field to get your links off, your Goblinberg is going to be the one to do it. He's also a warrior, so he's searchable by Rhoda. And honestly, it's just a very, very nice card to have. Next, I run the double Snow for my graveyard engine. If you don't know what Snow does, she is just numero uno in this deck. When she is normal or special summon, you get to Book of Moon one of your opponent's monsters to go face down. Also, while she is in the graveyard, you can banish 7 cards from your hand or field or graveyard to special summon her. It's not once per turn, and it is a quick effect, so it's just interruptions out the butt. I mean, she goes into your graveyard fairly quick. Since we are running Lightsworns, we have so many things to send to the graveyard. She just interrupts everything, and honestly, she is the one that wins me games, if I can be honest with you. Next, I run the Plant engine, and of course, so 3 Orpheus Scorpio, and of course the 1 Darlington Cobra. If you don't know what it does, let me explain it to you. She is your Scorpio engine is the one that really makes this deck come together. When this is normal or special summon, you can discard 1 monster and special summon another Plant monster besides himself. So what it does is you special Cobra. Cobra brings out your Miracle Fusion, and I'll go through the combo a bit later. But a lot of people don't like this engine, and they might run 2 Cobras. But honestly, for me, the triple Orpheus Scorpio and the 1 Cobra works perfect for me. If you draw into this first turn, you're just guaranteed to give your opponent a very hard time. They're going to have a really hard time getting around it. But yeah, next I run just the 1 Gemini Garnet for the Plant engine as well. 1 Heroic Challenger and 1 Performance Trick Clown as well, also for the Plant engine. And also, they work off with graveyard effects since we're milling so much. Performance Trick Clown, when it goes to the graveyard, you can special summon another Performance monster from your graveyard. You special summons it, its attack and defense drop to 0, and you take 1,000 damage. So that includes himself. So when he gets into grave, you just bring it right back. It's a level 4, so it's exactly what you need. And Thousand Blades, when he is in the graveyard and you take damage, you can special summon him and attack once per turn. And that includes battle damage. You know, you always want to special summon him either off Trick Clown when you take the damage to special it, or when you special it and take the damage, or when your opponent is done with their battle phase after they wiped off your board or something and they're attacking with the last monster, you want to bring this guy back out. So you can always have 2 level 4s. What's really neat about these two is that if you use these for an Exceed, like you overlay, you always want to detach Thousand Blades second. Because what happens is when Performance hits the grave, you're going to special summon it, pay 1,000, and then Thousand Blades is going to come out. So you're just going to have a rank 4 Exceed every single turn. It's very, very nice. Next, I run 1 Gofu, because freaking Gofu. Next, the 1 Maxi for the same flippin' reason. Maxi just wins games. Next, that's it for the monster lineup. It's pretty big as it's Lightsworn. Next, I run triple Charge of the Light Brigade. So glad this card is at 3. It is super broken, if I can be honest. You mill 3 cards and search for a level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster. You always want to search for your Luminas or your Raidens. Raiden is also a warrior, so it's also searchable by Rhoda. But this card at 3 is just good. It keeps your deck thin, and it just keeps your resources in the graveyard, which is exactly what you want. Next, I run triple Solar Recharge. Solar Recharge, if you don't know what it does, you discard a Lightsworn monster, draw 2 cards, and then mill 2 cards. It's a really good card. We're running a lot of Lightsworn monsters, as you can see. So you're not afraid to draw your wolves. You're not afraid to draw your Felice. You have Goblinberg, you have Solar Recharge. You have just so many things to get around bricked hands. Next, we run Triple Brilliant Fusion for our Pedroplant engine. Also very good, and once you use it, it's just fodder for Snow. Next, the limited cards, we have one Rhoda, because we have, 6 targets. Then we have the one Soul Charge, because this is a very graveyard-based deck. One Foolish Burial for the same reason. You can use it on Wolf to just automatically special summon it. And the one Regeki, because it's Regeki. That's it for the spells. For the extra deck, I run the one Firewall Dragon for shenanigans. The one D-Talker. And I'll explain what, D-Talker, it's a very good card for your opponent so they can't target. One Proxy Dragon for the Gofu, and one Mrs. Radiant for the Pedroplant engine, which I'll explain here shortly. That's it for the links. For the Synchros, I run double Omega Frame Lord Omega, or Psy Frame Lord Omega. This card is amazing in this build. One, you can return a banished card back to the graveyard to feed your Snow, and two, it's just a chainable effect that when you get to poke a card out of your opponent's hands, and in this deck it's very easy to pull out 2 in the same turn. So if you start your opponent with 4 cards on their first turn while you have these 2 bad boys waiting to come out, it's just bad news for them. Yeah, this deck is these 2 monsters are just really good. Next, I run the one Michael, because Michael is amazing in this deck. One, he's a Lightsworn monster, so he counts towards the name count for JD, and you pay 1,000 life points to banish 1 card your opponent controls, monsters or spell or trap. So it's really good. Next, the one Black Rose, because it's Black Rose to nuke the whole board. That's it for the Synchros. For the Exceeds, we run the MX Saber Invoker for the Pedroplant engine. One Dweller, because it's still relevant in this. Then one Castel, because bouncing back to the deck is always hilarious. One Baguska, because it's Baguska. And then double Minerva. You make Minerva a lot in this deck. One, she is another Lightsworn, so another name towards your JD. And if you don't know what she does, her effect is once per turn you can detach a card, mill 3, and then you draw 1 card for each Lightsworn you've milled. I've drawn 2 off of her plenty of times, and when you're using her effect and you're milling into Wolf, to draw into special another monster is just godly, to be honest. She's got another effect as well. When she gets destroyed by battle or card effect and goes to the graveyard, you get to mill another 3 cards and destroy cards on the field up to the number of Lightsworns you milled. So just another godly effect. And what's really good about that last effect is that to pop, it does not target. It doesn't. You just pick, but you don't target. So again, ways around cards that prevent themselves from being targeted. And last but not least, Seraphonite for your Pedroplant engine. Seraphonite is it's got a nice effect. You get to an additional normal summon once per turn. But if you to get into the Pedroplant engine, it's honestly, it's not very hard. It's really easy. All you need is Orphis Scorpio and a monster card. It doesn't matter which monster card. You just need 1, because that's the cost for its effect. So what you want to do is you want to normal summon your Orphis Scorpio. Use the effect by discarding your monster. That's going to special summon your Darlington Cobra. Darlington Cobra's effect is when it gets special summoned by another Pedroplant, you get to grab Polymerization or any fusion card from your deck to your hand. So you want to search for your Brilliant Fusion. Then you want to overlay these 2, right, into your MX Saber Invoker. MX Saber Invoker, you want to use the effect. You detach 1 to special summon a level 4 or lower Earth Warrior or Beast Warrior, if I'm not mistaken. So what you want to do is you want to special your 1,000 Blades. Now these 2 are Earth, so now you can link these 2 away, the MX Invoker plus your 1,000 Blades, and you want to go into Mrs. Radiant. Yeah, there we go. So you want to go into your Mrs. Radiant. Now, Mrs. Radiant, you require 2 Earths, and they're both Earths. So that's very nice. After you go into your Mrs. Radiant, next you want to use your Brilliant Fusion. So what you want to do is you want to dump your Garnet and your Trick Clown, since Orpheus Scorpio just needs a Gem Knight monster and a Light monster. If you don't want to send your Trick Clown, or if you already done it, other good hits are Wolf, because Wolf would also just get directly special summoned, or your Snow. If you have a good chunk of cards in your grave, I most definitely recommend doing Snow. But Snow is not going to let you do what I'm about to do next, unless I mean, you could. You just need a lot of feed off the grave. But you want to send these two to the grave to special summon your Seraphinite Trick Clown in the graveyard. It's on a trigger, so you're going to special your Trick Clown, and your Thousand Blades in the graveyard. It's also going to trigger since you took 1,000. Next, you can do just an insanely amount of things. One, you have another extra normal summon because of Seraphinite. So if you're lucky, you're going to have Illumina, and you're going to be able to special something from the grave. Usually what you like to do is you want to normal summon into whatever you want to go next. Then you want to use these two to link away into your D-Talker. Then you want to overlay these two for your Minerva. And this is honestly the simplest of things you can do. You end up with a D-Talker and with a Minerva. You use Minerva's effect to mill by detaching Thousand Blades first. Always remember to detach Thousand Blades first, and mill 3 and hopefully draw into something. And when you start your board with this, your opponent is going to have a hard time getting around it, because one, they don't want to pop Minerva because they don't want you to pop something in return, and you got D-Talker to stop something from being targeted. But one way or another, like 9 out of 10 times, they're going to get rid of your Minerva. They're just going to. They don't want her on the field. When she goes away, it's still going to have the Trick Clown attachment. So your Minerva is going to go away. Your Trick Clown is going to go to grave since it's during their turn. You can use the Trick Clown effect to special it, and then do your Thousand Blades once again. Now your D-Talker is going to have 2 targets. In case they want to keep targeting something for you to negate, or you can just wait till next turn and overlay them again and try into Minerva again. And that's a really good thing about these two, about Thousand Blades and Trick Clown, is that you just get to loop them. You're gonna run out of life fairly fast with Trick Clown, so I don't recommend it doing it more than 2 or 3 times unless you're just about to go off for game. But honestly, this deck for me has been just perfect. It's all about luck of the mill with this deck, if I can be honest with you. But it's a really fun deck once you start getting into it and you start learning all the combos. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Again, I am doing a subscription giveaway. As you can see, I still have my beautiful Dragon Ball mat. I got tons of Dragon Ball Z mats, and I want to give them away once I hit 50 subscribers. So please hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know what you would put in or what you would take out. I am starting to get my stuff together so I can make a 60 card engine, because I do like 60 deck cards. All I'm missing is just the grass is greener and the 2 arm offerings, which I'm just trading for. But I got all the zombie stuff. So that build profile is next. Let me know what deck profile you guys would like me to do. But yeah, late.